Hi everyone, welcome to my birthday live stream. And I have been seeing all of your birthday wishes on the stream. Thank you very, very much. That is so many. In fact, some of which that I'm only catching now, some of the new ones. Thanks very much for joining me on this live stream, and thanks very much for all the birthday wishes. I've been getting them on YouTube, I've been getting them on Patreon as well, which is really... Hi everyone, welcome to my birthday live... Ignore that, that was a little feedback issue there. Oh, I'm getting even more birthday wishes. Thanks very, very much. All of you, all of you. Give me a second, let me just deal with this right here. Yeah. Merry Christmas. Oh, you're talking about Miles Morales. Well, let's make that clear. That was a mistake. I was actually not supposed to show you that just yet, so I just got rid of it, but it's kind of spoiled right there. All you guys are still giving me birthday wishes. Thank you very, very much. That is very kind. I've been getting birthday wishes on Instagram as well, and I would get them on Twitter if they didn't suspend me on there, but yeah. FNA Fanboy says, are you going to see the new Transformers? Hang on. I'll answer these questions in a minute. The way I want this stream to go first is just me talking about the Versus update, and then I'll talk about what I am doing today on my birthday, and then we'll move over to the Q&A. So save your questions for that part. I'll let you know when we're going to get to the Q&A. You'll see an arrow next to the Q&A section, well, text right here. And Adam Grunther, one of my favorite viewers, also wishes me a happy birthday. Thank you very much. I'm glad you managed to join the live stream as well, like right from the beginning. That's really, really good. I'm glad to have all of you here. Let's see, how many of you are here? 62, 4 minutes into the stream. That's very good. Twitter, yes, Twitter suspended me. Orangutang? I'm sorry if I butchered that. Yeah, they suspended me. My account got hacked. I was actually at a KFC when I actually got a message from one of my viewers on YouTube saying, Eric, I think your channel has been hacked. There's a lot of this spam being posted. So I went in, I contacted Twitter. They suspended the account while it was hacked. I managed to get my account back, and then Twitter left it suspended, and they said that I broke some rules and stuff, so they kept it suspended. So yeah, not my fault, and I've done so many appeals. They finally did release my account, but then they locked it again the next day because they said that I broke their guidelines by trying to appeal my account, or unsuspend my account is what they said. They said you broke our guidelines by trying to unsuspend your account, which is so stupid and makes no sense at all. So yeah, I've not had Twitter for that very reason. So yeah. Cheesecake Bunny says, I like Pixar's Lightyear, but I respect your opinion. Well, I respect yours too. But yeah, I really did not care for that. Douglas Tizer says, happy birthday. Thank you very much. I am a huge fan of your work. I love your YouTube, and my name is Douglas. Well, thank you very much for that, Douglas. I really appreciate that. I've been getting quite a few of you saying that as well, by the way, that you really like my videos. Some of you even saying that I'm your favorite YouTuber. AS Hypers here goes, happy birthday, thanks very much. I've watched you for 5 years now. Your content is always fantastic. I'm very grateful that you're still entertained to be watching me for 5 years. So yeah, I'm glad you enjoy the content. I've got plenty more coming, so that's great. Scythe the Avenger, happy birthday, bro. I've watched your channel for 2 years, and I deeply enjoyed your videos and your opinions regarding the movies. I like even when you trash talk some of them. Yeah, those can be fun. If a movie is particularly bad and it has a nerve to it, whenever those movies have like a nerve, then it's always fun to like trash talk them. There's some movies though where it can just feel like you're just trash talking them for the sake of trash talking them. Like, I feel like I've done so many of these Disney live action remake versus videos at this point, and they kind of are half and half. It's like, okay, I'm just trashing them, but then at the same time it's kind of fun to trash them because I feel like they have it coming. The Little Mermaid in particular, I actually give The Little Mermaid... We'll move on to The Little Mermaid versus update, actually, at that, because I just brought that up. So yeah, basically, the little update I'm giving you about The Little Mermaid versus video is that the script is done. So the script is all done. I've recorded the voiceover for all of it. I've edited the voiceover for all of it. I've put in all the footage as well for the animated Little Mermaid, albeit I don't think I put in because I did the start off segment and the conclusion segment, I just finished that recently. I think I put the Little Mermaid animated footage in for the rest of the video, but just not for that part. So I still got to do that part. I've got to put all the live action footage in from trailers and clips and things like that. And then I got to animate a bunch of posters and things, so there's still a lot of work to do in the video, but it is getting along much faster than I thought. Normally I'd still be writing the script at this point, but thankfully with this I'm not. I've got the script already done. LSA says YouTube sucks now, suspending videos for no reason. Well, it's not come to me yet, thankfully. Let's hope it doesn't. But, so yeah, that's basically the update. The update is it's getting done quicker than I thought, and my goal is to hopefully get it done before The Flash comes out. And also, I saw Across the Spider-Verse. I did my review on that. I also did my much longer podcast review on Patreon where I give more details as to what I thought. And I'm going to be doing more podcasts like that, so head on over to Patreon if you want to see more of those kinds of podcasts and things. And I've got many more videos coming to Patreon soon too. I'll do a new announcement. But yeah, the Little Mermaid Versus video seems to be going on schedule, and surprisingly, I didn't know when I was going to do this Versus video. It was going to be on Across the Spider-Verse. I didn't know what movie I was going to do a Versus video with it on, because like I said, The Flash is right around the corner. So I was thinking of doing The Flash versus Across the Spider-Verse. Then I was thinking, should I do Into the Spider-Verse versus Across the Spider-Verse, or Across the Spider-Verse versus Spider-Man No Way Home? Like, so much stuff I was thinking. I was like, what should I do? And then it was 2 nights ago, I was like, all of a sudden, the ideas just came to me, and I wasn't even planning to write anything. So what I did is I wrote the script for Into the Spider-Verse versus Across the Spider-Verse in about an hour to an hour and a half. By the time I had finished writing it, I had a whole draft of the script done. So hopefully, yeah, we'll be able to get Into the Spider-Verse versus Across the Spider-Verse, which should definitely be fun. It'll be a more basic Versus video, but it'll still be a very, very good one. So I hope you guys enjoy that when that comes along. But you got the Little Mermaid one to enjoy first. And yeah, so I haven't seen the new Transformers movie because I've already said this before. I'm kind of tired of the Transformers movies. I feel like they've just, from the 4th movie and 5th movie, I was kind of tired of them just doing human characters and making these movies so long. I really was bored of them. I was just done with that. I'm bored of these human characters. But on the plus side, Bumblebee was a good time, but again, human characters. They were good human characters, not great, but good. But still, it was just very much doing the same thing as that these Transformers movies have been doing. And I like the 1st and 3rd movie. And I'm really like hoping they release an origin movie of, you know, the destruction of Cybertron and how the Transformers, how they, you know, how the war started before they came to Earth. I'm really hoping that we get an all Cybertron movie where it's just nothing but Transformers for the whole film. We've seen the Mario movie work out well. We've seen the Sonic movie work out well. I think if they do something like that, it could be good. It could be really good. So I'm really hoping they do that at some point. Connor says, happy birthday, Eric. Thank you. Just got back from seeing Rise of the Beast, and I don't see how people think it's bad. Do people think it's bad? I heard people say it was decent, from what I've been hearing. Ordil says, I'm glad I found your channel. You're my favorite YouTuber. Happy birthday. Thank you very, very much for that. I do appreciate all these birthday wishes, and so many of you been watching me for so long. I really appreciate that. Brandon says, I'm more excited to see Across the Spider-Verse again. I actually wanted to watch the movie again too, but like I said, that ending, it really did feel like it just cut the movie off. But the more I'm reflecting on it, the less bothersome it is. So I wonder what I will think if I see the movie again. Will I probably give it a 10? Or maybe a high 9, as opposed to just the regular 9 I gave it? I don't know. But yeah, The Little Mermaid, there's a lot of bad stuff to say in that movie. So much so that the Versus video was supposed to be about 20 minutes. And I thought it was going to be when I was reading this, when I had the script all locked and complete. But it turns out, it looks like it might be 25 minutes. So this will be an extra, a slightly longer Versus video of The Little Mermaid animated movie versus the remake. So we'll see how it does. Although I did throw one little, I was being more lenient towards the live action remake. I'm not going to tell you what I did, but I did something a little different right at the beginning of the Versus video. I said, let's do this and make it easier for the remake. And if it wins what I told it to, basically I did a little bet with it. If it wins the bet, it wins the Versus video. All it has to do is do this one thing that I say. And whether it does it or not, you'll have to wait to see the Versus video to find out. But I made this Versus video a little different in that regard. So, yeah. Odil says, is The Dark Knight still your favorite movie? Yes, it's still my #1 favorite movie. So yeah, that is... You see how I'm still not getting used to these live stream tools. I need to do more live streams to kind of get used to them. But there you go. There. So yeah, that's the Versus update. I'm working on the Little Mermaid Versus video. It's coming along very nicely. I'm also working on Into the Spider-Verse versus Across the Spider-Verse. So we'll wait and see The Flash, which is coming out this Friday, 16th, isn't it? I'll watch that, and then I'll decide what Versus video I do with that, because I would like to do... In an ideal world, I'd like to do a Versus video with The Flash, and also have it face off against No Way Home. But I also want it to face off against... what was the other one? Across the Spider-Verse. But... we'll see what I do. Usually when I'm, not decided like this, I would watch the movie, and then that will make me be like, okay, now I know exactly what I want to compare it to. So, yeah, that's the Versus update. And another thing, by the way, which I did today on my birthday, was finally play Spider-Man Miles Morales. I've played the PS4 game. I've got it on my shelf over there. You can see there's a bunch of PS4 games. I got it right over there. Love the PS4 game. I've been waiting to play Miles Morales, but everyone says it's essentially like a DLC game that they're charging you like extra money for. They tried to milk a whole new release out of some DLC, essentially, is what I've heard. So I was always waiting for that price to come down, and it didn't come down as much as I wanted it to. And for my birthday, I wanted to play something new, so I thought, alright, fine, I'll just finally get it, and I got it for my Steam Deck. And before doing this live stream, for about an hour, I was actually playing the game. I connected my Steam Deck to my monitor that you're watching the stream on right now. I usually edit on this stream, and this is where I played the PS4 Spider-Man game. And I thought, let's try to connect this PS5 controller to my Steam Deck. And by doing that, I can use the new haptics that is on the PS5 controller that Sony have incorporated. Because the Miles Morales game on PC does support that if you connect it through a wired connection, not wireless. And the game is fun so far. It's really good. I'm surprised how the Steam Deck can play it so well. It's playing it... I locked it at 30 frames per second, medium settings, and I put it on 1080p, so you can play the game on the monitor, because the Steam Deck does not play nice with 1080p for the latest games. You're lucky to get it running, at 720p. That's normally ideally where you want all these newer games to be running at 720p. But I wanted it at 1080, and it did a very good job. There was some lag and stutter, but that's because it's getting a really hot weather here. And yeah, I've even got a fan on me right here. And yeah, it was struggling. I think if it was not so much a hot weather, it probably would have done it better. But it was still fun to play. I really enjoyed it so far. Miles' electric power is cool. And watching him collaborate with Peter before Peter Parker goes off doing another, his own errands. It was fun. It definitely shows you what their working relationship will be like in Spider-Man 2. I just don't have a PS5 to play that, unfortunately. So I've done a reaction of it on my Patreon with that new gameplay trailer. It was so good. But, yeah, I'm going to have to wait for it to come out on PC, then play it on my Steam Deck, most likely. So, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, I like Spider-Man Miles Morales. Very good game so far, but I've only played, an hour. I'm on, the third mission or something, so I can't really say much more about it. So, that is the Versus update and what I did on my birthday update. Now, it's time for the Q&A. So, go ahead, ask whatever questions you want to ask, and we can get started with this Q&A session. Dermot McQuaid says, you're a true progressive. I'm actually not. If you're talking about political progressive, definitely not. Although, I just like it when it's done well, is the best way to put it. Do it well, I'll sing your praises. If not, you'll get the videos that I've been putting up. Adam Grunther says, I saw an early screening of The Flash. So many people are seeing early screenings of The Flash. Honestly, I'd say that's a bad thing that they've been doing, because now it doesn't feel special if you go to see the movie in theaters. I feel like almost everyone else has seen it. So that's kind of irritating, that is. I'm glad you enjoyed it, though. I hope you had a good time watching it, but it feels normally part of the experience is when everyone gets to watch the movie at the same time, with just maybe some critics watching it early or some lucky early viewers. But here, I feel like the rest of the face of the planet has seen it already. It's interesting. So I'm curious to see what you think, Adam Grunther, because you've been on my Patreon, supporting me so much on Patreon, even recently jumping up to the $5 perk, which I really appreciate. And yeah, you know, as you know, I've said on Patreon that my two most anticipated movies of the year is Across the Spider-Verse, which I already saw, it was amazing, and The Flash, two multiverse movies. And yeah, so I hope it was good. Hopefully when I scroll through your questions, I'll see what you think of the movie. And another good question from Adam Grunther. Have you considered doing the Flash movie with the Flashpoint animated movie? I did a long time ago, but I think somewhere along the line I kind of forgot about that one. Because we had No Way Home and then Across the Spider-Verse, you know, two more multiverse movies, I kind of did not think about the original multiverse movie. That's a good idea. That's one of my original ideas. I think I probably should look into that for sure. So, yeah, I'll definitely consider doing that closer to the time. Normally I'll know exactly what I want to do when I see the movie, so we'll see what happens at that point once I've seen it. And I've got still so many happy birthday wishes from all of you guys. You guys really are so nice. How is my Patreon? Well, head on over. I've got 51 patrons so far, and I've got a whole relaunch of Patreon that I'll be doing at some point, where I'll be giving you so much more shows and so much more ways to take part. There is a plan I've got where you guys can start taking part in each of my Versus videos. It'll be a survey, and I'll be able to involve all of you, and you'll all be able to like show up on the statistics in each of my Versus videos. And you'll have to be a Patreon to do it. It'll be one of the tiers where you can, but yeah, that'll be a way to get you guys more involved. So we'll see what I think of a Versus video, and then we'll compare it to what your guys' polls and survey results say. And we'll see if I was right in my assessment, or if the majority of you think I was wrong and you picked the movie that I thought lost. So yeah, it'll be a lot of good stuff coming to Patreon, so I would definitely recommend that you get on there once I start putting the new perks on. Although the $1 perk will remain the same, so if you want to jump on that now, you still can. And remember, it all helps me do this for a living, and it also helps me make more videos too, so all goes to that. Let's see. The first video, Slim Does Art and Reviews, said, "The first video I found of yours was the Chucky Versus video, and now, years later, you're now one of my favourite YouTubers ever." See, your comments like that just make me smile. Because when I make these Versus videos, I make so many of them, and I'm just trying to get them out. It's like you're trying to get them out as quick as you can whilst the movie you're covering is still relevant, that I never normally think this video is going to make someone subscribe to me. It's like I never know for sure, so unless you guys tell me like you just did right there, it's like this is the first time I figured that out, that you became a subscriber and I was one of your favorite content creators after that. I did not know that. I didn't know the Child's Play video was that big of a success, so thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed that video. That was one of my favorite ones as I was making it. I had a lot of fun making that one. Aman Shahid says, "Have you seen The Boogeyman?" I haven't, but I've heard some mixed reviews for it, so I'm curious to watch it myself and see what I think. Dermot McQuaid says, "Just saw the Little Mermaid remake. Far from the worst, but still gold." Did you say still gold? Yeah, good, still good. You put an I there, which I mistaked for an L. No, that's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. For me, you can wait for my Versus video where I talk about it in detail, but I really just couldn't get on with it personally. And if some of you are trying to get questions through, be sure to put it on the super chat. That way I'll see it for sure, because it should pop up. If it doesn't miss any of them this time, but it should pop up. What about No Way Home versus Into the Spider-Verse versus Across the Spider-Verse? That Justin Almonte Bernabel 2003 said that. I'm sorry, Justin, but I won't be doing that. These three-way versus videos take a long time. I can get two-way versus videos done, or written, should I say, in the time that it would take me to write one three-way versus video. So I think it's much better if I just do the two-way versus videos. Odell says, "I enjoy most of your Versus videos a lot." Most of them. Yeah, that's alright. In fact, there's I'll give you that. In fact, there's a couple of the earlier ones where I'm like, yeah, I don't think I researched that movie as well. So I like most of my Versus videos too. Daniel the Contreras, I am so sorry if I said that wrong, says, "You're one of my favorite YouTubers, alongside Double Toasted and Red Letter Media." Wow, it's particularly with Red Letter Media. That's right up there. They've got like a huge subscriber count. So I love watching your new and older videos since I think there's so much rewatchability. That's good to know, because by the time I finished editing a Versus video, I've already seen it like 100, maybe even 1,000 times all the way through in different forms. Just voices, then with the clips, then with no music, then with music. I've seen it so many times. Then I audio check it at the end, and then I have to go back in, make adjustments, then watch the whole thing again. So I've seen my Versus videos so many times. By that point, I'm kind of just like, okay, I need to take time away. I can't watch these again. But the fact that you find them so rewatchable, that is very good. That is something I'm always aiming for with each of these Versus videos, and just with all my videos in general. I'm always hoping that that you can rewatch them, and that they have a lot of rewatch value. So I'm glad that you think so. That makes me very happy. The critics have given the new Transformers 56% on Rotten Tomatoes. FNA fanboy says, "Wow, I did not expect that, because I've been hearing a lot of good stuff from viewers that have watched it, but yeah, the critics are not in sync with audiences. That's kind of been the trend for as long as I can remember." Ethan's Drawing says, "I've been subscribed since you've posted your Snyder vs. Whedon Justice League video." I'm actually not surprised with that one. That's one of my most viewed videos. I think it's my second most viewed video, behind It Chapter 1 versus the It miniseries. So yeah, I'm glad that video brought a lot of new subscribers in. So I'm glad. Let's see. Trying to keep up with these questions. There's a big backlog that I have to go through. That's why I always say wait for the questions until when I get to the Q&A part of the video, because otherwise there's such a huge backlog. Have you played Detroit Becoming Human? I actually bought that game, but no, I've not played it. I got that and LA Noire, 2 games for the price of 1, some deal like that, on my PS4. I played LA Noire. A part of that game is supposed to be that you can read the facial expressions off of the people that you're questioning, because you're playing a detective. And I didn't think the graphics were that good that I could read what they were saying. To me, the graphics were just not that good, so I kept getting it wrong. I was a very bad detective in that game. Really, I was. A random wizard is asking your favorite Disney movie. My favorite Disney animated movie is Beauty and the Beast. It used to be Aladdin when I was a kid, but it's Beauty and the Beast now. Alec Barton says, "Are you doing a 5-way versus video on Indiana Jones?" No, I'm not going to be doing that. That'll be such a long versus video to write. I've done a 4-way versus video with John Wick, which I'm surprised I managed to get that done, and in like about 12-13 minute runtime as well. But 5 versus videos with movies like Indiana Jones, it's doable, but I think it would take too long. I don't think it would be worth it in the end. I mean, you guys are ultimately the judge of that, but for me, I don't think it would be. I think I can get more videos done. Brandon the Beldum says, "Would you consider starting a Twitch channel?" I actually have got a Twitch channel, and I did used to do Twitch before. I did, was it an episode of Batman? It was a game that I reviewed. It was the Telltale's Batman Season 1, Episode 1, and I did that on Twitch. That was fun. I said to you guys, because that game has multiple choice, lets you pick what lines and pick what actions you want to do. And I said to you guys, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to be more brutal here, or do you want me to be more heroic and non-brutal? Of course, I always went for being brutal. But you guys chipped in and made those choices too. That was such a long time ago, though. I don't even know if I was doing versus videos at that point. I can't even remember at this point, that long ago. Lucky Bronny 21 says, "What do you think of the Boogeyman?" I'm sorry, I haven't seen the Boogeyman yet. I'll hopefully see it when it comes out for streaming, maybe. Adam Grunther says, "I can't wait for them to do the Wolverine game." I can't wait for that either, because the rumors are that it'll be M-rated, because they know that X-Men Origins Wolverine was one of the most iconic and like best-selling, I think, Wolverine games. And it was just so well reviewed for how bloody and gory it was. So I think they're going to try to follow in that game's footsteps. Again, a PS5 console is required, but I need more than that to justify buying the console. Unless I consider selling my PS4. In which case, if I sell my PS4, then I could potentially get a PS5, but I don't know. I bought a Steam Deck recently. I'm fine with that. That's been serving all my needs gaming-wise. So hopefully when the game releases on PC, however long that'll take, and get it there. Also, games are going up to £70 now for like a single game, $70 as well. So I don't know if games are as worth it as much anymore as they used to be. Unless I get it in a bundle, in which case that could be worth it. Like I did with Batman Arkham Knight. I got that with a PS4 bundle. it made it in a way to where I can get the DLC, the season pass, for free, essentially. Phoenix Hunter YouTube Junior says, how would you feel if Alec Baldwin played Voldemort? That is such a random question and such a random casting choice. Alec Baldwin as Voldemort. I'll say no to that, but who knows? Maybe he would surprise us. I don't think he's going to really get much work after what happened recently, the tragic thing that happened, so yeah. Sard says, happy birthday, Eric. Have you seen the horror movie Orphan? If so, what do you think of it? Yes, I have. I saw that when I was younger on TV. It was a good movie, but I thought the husband in that movie was so freaking stupid. It's like, come on, listen to your wife for crying out loud. I don't know why he was being so dumb. I did see the sequel as well. I think it was straight to streaming. It was. Me and my brother saw it. It was surprisingly fun. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. So yeah, I do like those movies, but I haven't seen... The first one I feel like was very unpleasant and brutal, that I didn't really want to watch it again, so I saw it once, I think, and I don't think I've seen it again. A random wizard also says, will you do an Orphan 1 versus Orphan 2 video? Maybe down the line, but it's not... I've got so many other projects that I've been thinking about doing that that's not one I'm going to have on the top of my list, but if you want me to say which one's better, I think the second one... The first one's better, but the second one was more entertaining, if that makes sense. The first one's definitely a better movie, but the second one, there is more entertainment to be had with it. That's basically my... I need to watch both movies again in order to know for sure which one is better. Jonathan Van Der says, would you do a verse video for Terrifier 1 and 2? Ooh, well, I'll admit something. I've not seen Terrifier 1 and 2 all the way, because they're very... Well, the second one in particular was very long. And the acting in it is not very good. Let's just say that the acting feels like what people would do in these, like, really bad movies. Like, if you've seen Big Bang Theory, remember when Penny was supposed to be in a movie called Serial Apist? It was supposed to be a mock, like, parody horror movie. And basically, that's how I see the acting in Terrifier 1 and 2. 2, the acting is better, but in the first one, the acting in both technically is quite laughable and fake. So it couldn't sustain me throughout the whole movie, but the gore in it was really impressive, as fake as it looked at times too. But yeah, I'm curious to see how they can top that in Terrifier 3. Those movies are not distributed by Hollywood for a reason, because mainstream audiences would not take kindly to a movie like that. It's too bloody. Lindsay Curtis says, I can't wait for your versus video on The Little Mermaid, Eric. I absolutely adored the original classic, and I'm looking forward to hearing your opinion on the live-action remake. Also, happy birthday. Oh, thanks for that. Yeah, I got a lot to say. Like I said, 25-minute video, so there's a lot. I have a lot to say about that movie. Have you ever played Transformers Fall for Cybertron? It's my #1 favorite Transformers game to ever play, says Ethan's drawing. No, but I did want to play it on my Steam Deck, but unfortunately, a lot of these licensed games, like the Spider-Man, Web of Shadows, and Edge of Time games and all that, and the Transformers games, these licensed games have been taken off of Steam a long time ago, which is unfortunate. And I've tried to find a Steam key to buy it. It's super expensive. So there are ways to get the game on the Steam Deck, but they do seem... It's like you got to own the game on PC to get it, then play it. So maybe I could try doing that someday, but you have to go through a lot of steps. And I've done a lot of stuff on my Steam Deck, but that's one that I'll have to really invest time and look into before I consider doing that. So, do you plan... Bardock says, do you plan on doing a versus video for the 2 Spider-Verse movies? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I already said in the stream that, yeah, I've got... I don't know what happened. I was just in the zone, and I just wrote a first draft of a script for Spider-Verse 1 versus Across the Spider-Verse in like an hour to an hour and a half. I don't even know how that works. If I could write my versus video scripts like a first draft in an hour to an hour and a half, that would be amazing. But my scripts, they don't always... They're quite tricky to write, because... Like you said, one of you said that they have a lot of rewatch value. The reason they have that is because I have to work hard on those scripts, and you got to write them all out, and they're very long. You scroll through so much of it. And to make a 20, 25 minute, even 45 minute versus video, like have a lot of rewatch value, that is not easy. So the fact that I was able to do that, excuse me, the fact that I was able to do that with 2 movies that I think are very deep, that was quite surprising. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm deliberately not going to spend more time to make it longer because I know I wouldn't be able to get it done editing-wise in time, so I won't be doing that. But it will be a good verse video. It should be about 13 minutes long, but that's right now. I could keep doing rewrites on the draft and it could end up being longer, but I'm hoping to get that out relatively quick as well, hopefully. But it is getting very hot up here, which is where I work, in the attic, and that can definitely be tricky for my computer. Hey Eric, have you seen the Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire teaser? I saw the announcement. I don't know if they've done another teaser after that, but I'll have to give it a look. But yeah, I can do a Godzilla vs. Kong versus that versus video at some point once it comes out. What's your top 3 Star Wars movies? Top 3 Star Wars movies, it will be Episode 5, Episode 3, and then Episode 6. Those are my top 3 favorites. Will I do a review for about Five Nights at Freddy's? If it's a movie, maybe. If it's a game, no. Although I am going to be doing some more game-related stuff when I relaunch Patreon, so maybe, actually, keep a lookout for that. Have you seen... Where has that gone? After No Way Home, what do you think of Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man? I feel like... This is what I think about Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I do not like him. I think that's a problem with Tom Holland. I don't like the version that we have been presented for like 6 movies from the MCU. He's incompetent. He doesn't learn with great power comes great responsibility until his 6th appearance. And even then, it felt like it was just said very quickly, whereas it wasn't... They didn't build up to that like the first Raimi Spider-Man movie did. They built up to that whole thing where he was getting cocky, he was getting arrogant, he was trying to get into a wrestling match so he could buy a car so he could impress a girl. And he was acting differently in front of his Aunt May and his Uncle Ben, and they realized it. And then he had a deep conversation with him. He was dropping some real life advice that you could actually follow. It was some genuine stuff. And so with great power comes great responsibility. Him learning his lesson, it really showed. Whereas Tom Holland is just incompetent. He's just incompetent and he's stupid, especially what he did with Far From Home. And yeah, I've not seen what Peter Parker should be in him, which is true struggle. We only properly saw that in No Way Home, and No Way Home, they only really set him up as Peter Parker at the end of the movie. But even No Way Home, he was an idiot. As they said in Across the Spider-Verse, that nerd from Earth 99999, did he say? I can't remember. But yeah, I don't like Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I feel like they've set him up on a good path now, so now, going from No Way Home onwards, we'll see what the next movie is. I feel like that's where he should be the Spider-Man that I'm looking for. So we'll see. But, yeah, I really am disappointed with this Spider-Man. I'll tell you what, I was so glad that he did not cameo at all in Across the Spider-Verse. Because I don't consider him Spider-Man yet. All this time he's been a sidekick. He's been Iron Boy. He's not been truly Spider-Man yet, so I hope in the next movie we get to see that. So I hope we get some good writing in there. And if not, we'll have the next Spider-Man 2 game to go off of. So, yeah. Moana Remake DC Fan 2022 says, Moana Remake could be good, but I just can't believe they announced it after only 7 years. Do you know what I can't believe? If you look at Disney right now, they are going through like a real slum. Like, Ant-Man the Wasp, Quantumania flopped. A lot of their streaming shows are flopping. She-Hulk, Miss Marvel. The only good movie that they got recently was Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 3 that even I really enjoyed. But James Gunn, who made that movie, he's not going to be continuing working for them. He's going over now to DC. So they've only got Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania. They've got that Secret Invasion show coming, which looks so boring, given how good the concept is supposed to be of the Secret Invasion. They're doing something so low-key and boring and uneventful, in my opinion, and unexciting. And they've also failed with Lightyear. They failed with Strange World. They failed with Star Wars on so many things. And now what they're going to do is, after Guardians, where people really enjoyed that movie, they're going to do the Marvels. I mean, if they couldn't come to see Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania, which had Kang and Ant-Man as the selling points, no one is going to see the Marvels. Myself included. I don't even think I'll bother doing a versus video. I think I'll just ignore the movie altogether. Because I don't have anything to say. It just looks boring. If you want to know what I have to say about it, go over to my Patreon and watch my trailer reaction. That's everything I have to say about the movie in there. I feel like will ultimately be what I think of the movie when it comes out. And not to mention, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, they just recently released the projections. I think, was it Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, one of them? They released the opening weekend box office projections, and it is not looking good. Disney apparently is the big reason why, because the brand, people have just got such a backlash over them now. People are really fed up with Disney and their antics and just their mistreatment of these properties and these characters, that people are just dropping out of them. I mean, Across the Spider-Verse is like beat Guardians of the Galaxy with regards to its opening weekend box office in the domestic region. So it just goes to show how even an animated Spider-Man movie can do better than these MCU projects. And they're still making new MCU projects that I just don't care about. Fun fact, Arturo Sandoval Saito says, fun fact, while Peter Parker is Spider-Man, Miles Morales is Kid Arachnid. Kid Arachnid? Is that in the comics, or is that something that you're saying? That would be interesting. I don't know. I'm not saying, sorry, that's not interesting. I'm just reading this other thing, which is interesting. I did not know that. It was Kid Arachnid. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, yeah, Disney are doing all these very, very bad decisions. And then they do Moana, a live-action remake, which makes no sense to me, because Moana, from what I've heard, was not a box office success. It actually really caught on Disney+. So that means that the audience has grown for it. Just like another movie that was not very successful at the box office, but the audience grew for it. That being, can you guys guess what it is? Let's see if you guys can guess what that movie is. And I do see your super chat. I'll answer that in a second. Can you guys guess what that movie is? That first movie that did not do well at the box office too much, but on streaming it did, and then the second movie it came out and it did even better. Frozen? No, not Frozen. That was a success at the box office, that was. Odile gets it, got it right in one. Into the Spider-Verse, yes. Into the Spider-Verse did not do as well at the box office as the studio would have wanted, but on streaming, it blew up. Like, it had a 5-year window from the first Spider-Verse to the second Spider-Verse movie, that by the time people saw that, they loved it, and then it boosted up the hype for Across the Spider-Verse. And Across the Spider-Verse is doing gangbusters at the box office. So the same thing would be the case with Moana. Did not do very well at the box office, but it blew up on streaming. So what they should do is say, okay, we're going to announce Moana 2. That movie would do gangbusters at the box office, just like Spider-Verse has. But they didn't do it. They did a live-action remake. And a lot of people seem to be getting fed up of the live-action remake. So why they did that, beyond me, guys. It really is beyond me. It's like, who's making the decisions at Disney right now? They're trying to play it safe, but they're also doing a stupid decision at the same time. Because no one, if you look at the Little Mermaid box office numbers, they're going to lose money on that movie. So, yeah, making another live-action remake is not the news people want. So yeah, Disney they're going to screw up for the rest of the year. I honestly think, my preconceptions going in for Indiana Jones 5 aside, the box office numbers for that are not looking good either, with the early projections. So we'll see how it goes, but I think people are just sick of Disney and their handling of Lucasfilm. So much so that an insider from Cameron Pasha, who I told you about, his insider at Disney, Sparrow, has said that Disney are looking to sell Lucasfilm because they really need to make money because they're losing so much. So, and their budgets are bloated too, which is also surprising. Like, Indiana Jones apparently cost like 100 million more than it was supposed to, 100 to 150 million more. So I think the budget was supposed to be about 150 million or 200 million. It's now at 300 to 350 million. And then that's not even counting marketing, which will be like another 150 million. So by the time the studio gets their cut, and then the theaters get their cuts, they need to make like about 800 million on that movie to break even. I've heard some reports say maybe even 900 million to break even. So yeah, Disney really are in trouble down there. Their budgets are bloated, and they're not getting much like returns on their investments. Meanwhile, you get movies like Into the Spider-Verse that is having huge box office numbers, and the budget was only 100 million, and then marketing budget on top of that. So they're banking on that. They pretty much got all their money back on the opening weekend. Then they just got the rest of the month. So yeah, very interesting. So Alex, you've done a super chat. Thank you very much for your donation. Would you consider doing a Disney's Pinocchio remake versus Del Toro's Pinocchio video? I did consider doing that, but I just didn't have the time to do it at the time. Would I consider doing it? I might thing is, it was something I was considering, and I really wanted to do it because I wanted to show that this is how you do a remake, or this is how you do a retelling of the story and do it in a way that is different, rather than what Disney did. And I might at some point in the future, but I feel like I've talked so much about Pinocchio, not only in that Versus video, but even in my top 5 best movies of the year list. So yeah, I probably won't, but at some point if Pinocchio is trending again, then I'll consider definitely doing it. Also, what I wanted to mention about Disney, and the thought just lost my mind. Just came in and went out. Yeah, they're not doing well, I'll just put it that way. They're doing very badly. And Lucasfilm are considering selling it back to Disney are considering selling Lucasfilm back to George Lucas, is what I've heard, the rumor. It could be a single entity or a single company, but from what I've heard, it does sound like it's closer to selling it back to George Lucas, which is exactly what they did with Power Rangers. The owner of Power Rangers sold it to Disney for billions, and then Disney screwed it up, just like they did with Star Wars, to the point that it was useless, Power Rangers. And they sold it back to the owner of Power Rangers for like $60 million. So he banked on that and got his baby back, essentially, after Disney screwed it over, which is essentially how they've treated George Lucas and his creation. And yeah, also another movie to compare to Disney and their failure, Puss in Boots 2. The budget on that was also about 90 to 100 million or something, and it ended up making so much money at the box office. And Super Mario also had like a budget of 100 million. And look at the money that made at the box office. So everyone else is doing great at animation. Universal is doing great. Sony, who would have thought Sony would be doing great? Everyone else is doing great at animation except for Disney, which is funny because Disney animation is kind of what they were founded on. It's what people associate them with, and they're screwing up on the animation. I see another super chat has come through. I think that it says A on it. I think that's Adam Grunther. Yes, it is Adam Grunther. Thank you again for your super chat. Patreon and super chat. I have no words. Seriously. Adam Grunther says, have you considered doing a versus video of Del Toro's Pinocchio and Puss in Boots 2 since they were the frontrunners for Best Animated Feature? I would like to do one like that, but the versus video that a lot of people are asking me is Puss in Boots 1 versus Puss in Boots 2. So maybe I'll do a vote at some point, but I've got one Puss in Boots versus video that I want to get out first before I consider even doing a versus video for Puss in Boots 2. It's comparing DreamWorks and Universal animation to Disney animation. I want to get that video out first because that's kind of my passion project video. Once I get that out, then I can consider doing Puss in Boots versus videos. So that's my thoughts on that personally. Although I gotta say, Puss in Boots 2 was so good, and because just like Spider-Verse, I think it didn't do as good at the box office as they wanted, even though it made a lot of money. I think if they make another Puss in Boots or a Shrek 5, I think just like Spider-Verse, they can bank on that. They really can. And also, that video is taking longer because I got these other Versus videos to do, because June is a very packed month of movies. And also, every time a new movie comes out, like Spider-Verse, I have to add to that script just to kind of like acknowledge the other animation stuff. So that script is like an ever-evolving script every time the market changes. So once it takes a break, then I can hopefully have a solid version of that script that can just stay as it is. Adam Grunther, you did another super chat, and it didn't show it. It was the $2 super chat. Thanks again for that. What did you think of Spider-Punk in Spider-Verse? I liked him a lot. I really did. He was really funny. He was also voiced by... I can't remember his name. Was it Daniel DeLuca, or am I thinking someone else? I am not entirely sure what his name is, but... I forgot what his name is, but he was in Get Out. He did the voice for it, and if you've watched him on Graham Norton, where he was on there, Margot Robbie was there, he is a really funny guy. He's so funny. And I was expecting him. I knew it was him voicing the character before I even went in to see the movie. And as I thought he would be hilarious in the role, and he was. There's also speculation going around that he might be an alternate multiverse version of Miles Morales. Hence, Gwen had such a liking towards him. Hobie, I think what she was calling him. And there was a slight love triangle going on. Slight, like a very subtle one, between her, Miles, and Spider-Punk. And also, he also helped Miles out when he told him palms, not fingers, when Miles was using his electricity powers to escape Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099. And he's also helped out in another way towards the end of the movie, which I won't give a spoiler on in case some of you haven't seen it. So people are thinking that maybe, there's like speculation going around, that maybe because Gwen also had a liking towards him, and she spent time with him, maybe he is an alternate version of Miles. So that'll be interesting to find out in the next movie. But yeah, I loved Spider-Punk as a character. But my favorite character was Web Slinger, how he was like a cowboy. They didn't use him much, but he was my favorite new character in there. And yeah, there was also something else I wanted to mention about Spider-Verse, but I can't remember what it is right now. What did I want to mention about Spider-Verse? I hate that when that happens. I have the idea in my head and then it just completely goes. But maybe it'll come back to me, then I'll just say it to you. Zilla Universe, another long-time viewer, says, thoughts on How to Train Your Dragon remake. It could be good because the original creator is there, but I hope they don't go through the mistakes that Disney have, which is over-politicizing their live-action remakes and softening the edges so much to the point that they don't have the balls that the animated movie had. I think it's ultimately pointless, but we'll see what they can bring to it. Spirit Hero says, hello Eric, if you feel like it, can you make a versus character comparison video with the Hulk? Mark Ruffalo versus Ed Norton, possibly. Happy birthday, you're the best. Oh, thanks for that. That's an interesting comparison, but do I want to make a whole versus video for that? I'll need to think about it. See, if Disney could, they can't because they don't have the distribution rights for it, but if they could make a standalone Hulk movie, it would be much easier for me to have already had that conversation, but as of right now, I haven't because they haven't made another movie of it yet. Mitchell Bonner, I think? Because I don't want to say the other thing, which it might not be. What DCU project are you most excited for? Also, happy birthday. Oh, thanks. The DC project I'm most looking forward to, it depends how long you're talking, because I was going to say The Flash. This year, out of all the DC movies this year, it's The Flash. Out of all the DC projects, so you're not even specifically saying move. Oh, DCU. How could I have missed DCU? Oh, okay. The movie I'm most looking forward to at the DCU right now is a toss between James Gunn's Superman and the Green Lantern show, because I've always wanted to see Jon Stewart, the Green Lantern, in live action. And James Gunn, I don't know yet what he'll do with Superman. I feel like I've doubted him so many times at DC, but he's always proved me wrong. And recently I doubted him with Guardians 3, but he proved me wrong on that as well. So I feel like I should not be doubting James Gunn at this point. But I'm very protective over Superman. He's one of my favorite superheroes, and I have a very specific idea how he's supposed to be, and I really hope he don't turn into some kind of jokester. So he might not be, but I always have that fear with James Gunn. You don't quite know what you're going to get, and that is normally in the good way and the bad way. So I shouldn't be doubting him at this point, so I have confidence in whatever he's going to do. But I still have some doubt on that, and I am sure when the movie comes out, I will have been wrong to have doubted him again. That's just kind of how it is. But we'll see. That's kind of the fun with James Gunn, is that you don't know what you're going to get, but I hope he takes over what he's learned, because his emotional elements and his intellectual elements in these superhero projects he's done over at DC and recently at Guardians with the emotional element is really what makes his movies to me. So we'll see. And I also posted on my Instagram recently that some news came out that apparently some of the Authority members are going to be in there, which Superman will be doing a versus battle with them. He'll be doing Superman versus the Authority, so he's going to be introducing the Authority in here. The Authority can have their own movie, then it'll be Superman versus the Authority, is what James Gunn is planning to do. So I hope they're introduced well. So the Superman movie I'm really looking forward to, but also Jon Stewart's Green Lantern. It is quite hot up here, by the way, because we're getting to that. We've reached the hot weather. I think it was like 29 degrees earlier. Let's take a look at more questions here. Thanks again for those super chats, by the way. Those really, really do help. Let's see. There was a live show of How to Train Your Dragon in 2012. I was not aware of that. I didn't know that. Interesting. Have you seen Monster House? Yes, I have. I loved Monster House. One of my childhood favorite movies. Jacoby, is that how we say your name? It's Jakobe, Jacob. Again, I sincerely apologize to all of you if I'm getting your names wrong here. Death Edit says, when did you stop watching Flash? Also, they butchered all the old villains. I've seen some clips on YouTube and Instagram that were going around where the CW were posting clips of the older villains. Yeah, cinematography-wise, they look bad. Performance-wise, they're cringy. Before, the Flash had CW-isms, but you wouldn't say that the whole show felt like a CW show. But now it feels like the CW-isms have just taken over the whole show, and it felt like that a long time ago. I stopped watching after season 6 episode 2 because I thought that was just, I was like, at this point I'm done, there's no reason to stick around. I thought the show stopped being good after season 3. Season 4 was okay, I liked the villain that they had there until they started swapping out bodies and all that, but it wasn't it was not good after, as it kept on going. Logan Miracle says, yeah, he stopped watching The Flash after season 6. Yep, he answered your question right after I answer. I've already answered this question before, but yeah, season 6 episode 2, that's when I stopped. I like how you guys remember these things, because sometimes I answer things and you guys remember them, and then you'll say, hey, I give an answer, then you'll be like, hey, remember that last time you said this? And I'll be like, no, oh yeah, I did say that, and then I'll have to start changing my opinions or say, well, I've changed my mind from that. You guys have better memories of my videos than I do. Sometimes you remember the scores, you remember my top 5 and top 5 best and worst movies. You have a better memory of these things than I do. And yeah, they did butcher all those villains, which is a shame because they were very good villains in the first 3 seasons. Are you Yo-Yo10 says, are you surprised that Illumination, the creator of the Minions, is starting to get better than Disney? I'm not surprised, because in my video that I've actually wrote the script for already, in the Puss in Boots video, where I talk about Puss in Boots 2, in that I say that while Disney was getting very political with their Disney animated movies, Universal were just very, very subtly getting political. They did a few diverse castings, which I had no issues with, that's fine. But they started to, like, just very sneakily just take over from where Disney was moving away from. They weren't being political, they were being family-friendly, like, movies that parents could very safely take their kids to, and they've very sneakily taken the place of Disney, because now parents don't trust Disney. Because of the amount of politics they're putting down. Even parents that trust that agree with the politics that Disney are preaching, they're saying that's not a conversation we want to have with our kids yet. And Disney, people just don't trust them now. They don't trust them because of the messaging. They don't trust them because of the forced representation. They don't trust them because of the way they've handled these super popular IPs. They don't trust them because of the way they've been handling these male characters and how they've been treating these male actors, like Mark Hamill in particular. And I think Indiana Jones 5 will just be another one to show that people don't trust them, which is why I think there's rumors going on inside that Bob Iger is trying to find a way. He's getting his lawyers together and is trying to sell Lucasfilm, because they think that it's done, it's just destroyed. They've just damaged it too badly. That they don't think putting the amount of money they have to save, they don't think they'll be able to get much any return now with Lucasfilm. It's a liability for them now. So I think George Lucas will just get it back. So hopefully, here's hoping. I hope Apple TV or some other company doesn't give him a bigger paycheck and say, yeah, give it to us. I hope George Lucas gets it back. Then he could put it in the hands of Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau then. Alice says, warning, I'm about to go into more silly question. Feel free, go ahead. Just so long as it's age appropriate, that's all I ask. Keep it clean, basically. Arman Shahid says, Spider-Man Noir not being voiced by Nicolas Cage. I hope you're talking about the fact that he was not in Across the Spider-Verse, because, yeah, his voice wasn't in Across the Spider-Verse. But I bloody well hope in the next movie that if he's in the movie that he is voiced by Nicolas Cage, because he was my favourite character of the first Spider-Verse movie. Adam Grunther says, but Superman is kind of a jokester. That's the thing with Superman. He's not, I wouldn't say he's a jokester. He cracks jokes and one-liners, and he's always got a big corny smile after he does it. But he's not that kind of a jokester, like, say, what Star-Lord is, or what James Gunn's other characters are. Superman is someone he's so charming and has such a big smile on his face that you can't help but smile when you see him, or when you're in his presence. That's what Superman is. He is so incredibly charming. He'll crack a joke too, but not in the way that James Gunn has had any of his previous characters crack jokes. He cracks jokes in ways that is very... It's like it's like he doesn't find the joke funny, but he's saying it in a way because he thinks it'll make the other person cheer up, even if the joke is corny and bad. So Superman is very specific about how he does jokes. So I would say Superman, he's a funny character, but he's not a comedic character. He's not a goofy character in that way. He's a Boy Scout. He's a corny character is how I would describe him. Logan Miracle says, happy birthday. Yep, thanks very much. The birthday wishes keep on coming. Let's see. I wouldn't exactly blame James Mangold for Indiana Jones 5. I blame Kennedy and the writers that want to botch the main male character. Yeah, I'll say this right now, because I don't know if I don't think I've said this. If Indiana Jones 5 flops or fails, it is not James Mangold's fault. I can tell you that right now. It is not. The guy has practically like a spotless record in terms of the movies he's been making. So for this movie, if it fails, you have to blame Kathleen Kennedy, because the rumors are from people on set saying that they would walk by Kathleen Kennedy or James Mangold's trailers and they would be in there for like an hour and a half to 2 hours yelling and arguing. That's what some people on the set have been saying. So clearly they're both not getting along. There's not a single creative vision. And knowing Kathleen Kennedy and how she fires people off like Lord and Miller, who then ended up doing Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse and won an Oscar for the former, it just shows how bad her decision making is. I want to know what their Han Solo movie would have been like, seeing how great they are with all this other stuff. They even wrote a treatment for the Flash movie, which they said quite a bit of their treatment stuff has actually been in there. And people that have seen it have said it's very similar to Across the Spider-Verse, so people must have stuck with a lot of their notes. But yeah, it's not going to be James Mangold's fault. It'll be Kathleen Kennedy's. And apparently, if the movie does not make $900 million plus, Bob Iger said he's going to fire her and publicly humiliate her. He tried to give her a golden parachute at Star Wars Celebration, where they would just have her read off a bunch of accolades and celebrate her, and then she would just go off with all these accolades into the sunset. But she basically spat in Bob Iger's face and instead announced a couple of Star Wars projects, including that new fake Rey movie that apparently is going to have a $250 million budget and will be directed by this woman that has only directed an episode of Miss Marvel on Disney+, the pilot episode, which from what I heard had to be reshot entirely because she's a documentary director and she couldn't direct live action because they're two completely different stuff. Directing for a movie is different from a documentary. So she did not do a good job with that, and at a time where Disney is trying to save money, do you think they're going to give a first-time director like that, who did not do a good job with that episode of Miss Marvel as for her directorial debut, and they had to come in and get someone else to direct the whole thing, like reshoot the whole episode, do you think they're going to let her come in and direct a $250 million budget movie with Rey in it, a character that did not take off and is already, Disney are still paying the price for how they managed her and how they had her overshadow Luke Skywalker? They're not going to pay that kind of money for that kind of thing. It's a ridiculous thing that she thinks people are going to buy that. And then she tried to say, because, oh shit, like, people are not taking kindly to this announcement. Oh, so we'll just say that Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker and Hayden Christensen as Anakin will be in the movie. And I haven't heard from Hayden Christensen, but Luke Skywalker, he says, I'm done. Like, they don't need to tell you more Luke Skywalker story. So, yeah, he basically shut her up, like, put her in her place instantly. Luke Skywalker's going to be in it, the person that we mistreated and did not respect, and we just killed off unceremoniously. He's going to be in it. And then he says, no, I'm not. Because Mark Hamill was hurt by how they treated him too. So, good. Happy birthday, Eric, says Oliver Ekman. Happy birthday, Eric. You're my favourite YouTuber. I've loved your content for as long as I can remember. Oh, thank you very much. I'm always trying to improve the content and try to make it more informative and fun, so I'm glad you enjoy it. Thank you very much. Prehistoric Planet, way better than any of the modern day Disney movies. Prehistoric Planet. I've not heard of that before. Fireboy says, which upcoming Batman movie are you looking forward to see? The Batman 2 or Brave and the Bold? And happy birthday. Thanks very much. The Batman 2, without a doubt. Because we've already got a first movie to go off of, so we can't... Of course I'm going to feel more attachment towards that. Also, Andy Muschietti is rumored to be directing the next Batman the Brave and the Bold, but the writer is going to be... What is her name? I am very bad with names lately. Seriously, I used to be so good with names, but I'm always incredibly bad at remembering. Let's take a look. The Flash writer, even though she didn't properly write the movie. Christina Hodson. She wrote Bumblebee, a decent movie, but very basic in its writing. And she also wrote Birds of Prey. She's apparently getting the credit for writing this movie, but even though Phil Lord and Miller from the Spider-Verse movies came in and wrote that, and Lego Movie, they wrote a treatment which apparently has a lot of similarities, I hear, to Across the Spider-Verse. So I think they should get more credit than they're getting. And from what I hear from a lot of people, it does not sound like her work. It doesn't sound like her work if you go off her track record. It seems more like Lord and Miller's work, so we'll see just how similar it is to Across the Spider-Verse. But yeah, so yeah, I'm not looking forward to that movie purely because she's writing it. So I hope James Gunn monitors the script writing, because from what I've heard, she did not write that movie. A lot of insiders are saying that it went through countless different hands, and she was one of the last people to work on it, and she's got the name credit on it for some reason. She's also it's very telling as well that we've heard lately that the Flash 2 script has been completed, and it was not written by Christina Hodson. If she was that good at writing, Warner Brothers would have instantly snapped her up and said, "You're going to write the sequel." But they didn't. And that should tell you something. There's something very fishy going on there. Who really wrote that movie? Or if it was just so many people that Warner Brothers don't want to admit that it was so many different people. Because even the Dungeons & Dragons writers that did Game Night, directors, the duo that did Game Night and Dungeons & Dragon, the recent Dungeons & Dragon that is, they also wrote part of a treatment for it as well, before she got it, and a bunch of other people too, so, yeah. There's a girl there that, I hope it's a girl, says, "You're cute." Thanks. What would you play Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom? Not really. I've got a lot of games I already have to play. I don't want to have to add another one onto the list. Happy birthday, Eric. You're the best and awesome. And when will you do a versus of Avatar: The Way of Water with the first one? I hit writer's block with that, unfortunately. I need to see the movie again, and I haven't had the time to see it, and I've been working on the more recent ones. But I will definitely get to it at some point. I do want to get to that one at some point. More happy birthday wishes. Thank you, all of you, for giving me these birthday wishes. Really, I appreciate it. Are you gonna make Peter Pan and Wendy versus Hook 1991? Both of them are live-action Peter Pan movies, but Hook 1991 is a sequel, but Peter Pan and Wendy is a remake. I only saw the first 10-15 minutes of Peter Pan and Wendy, because I asked my brother, I said, I don't know, is this a remake of the animated movie, like a like-for-like, full-on remake, or is it a new telling of the story? So we watched the first 10-15 minutes, and it was basically a remake of the animated one in the first 10-15 minutes, and it was so bad that I said to my brother, I said, we gotta watch the animated one now. And I didn't like how they tried to make Wendy seem like a strong female character. Your brothers, they look up to you, and I'm an elder sibling. I've had conversations with my parents where they give you the eldest sibling talk, where they say this is how you should be talking to your siblings, this is how things are. So I know how that talk with the parents goes, and this one did not sound like it at all. It just sounded like the typical feminist build-up dialogue. So no, I don't think I'll be doing a versus on it. It's a streaming movie, and one that most people did not even watch, so it's not one that I think will get much tension and much clicks, personally. It won't be worth the effort, I think, to put into that versus video. Eric Carter, what are your birthday plans? Said Brandon the Beldam. Well, this is the end of the day. It's 9:35. I still haven't had my food yet either. I got to do that after this live stream. Yeah, my birthday plans are not really much. I've just got thing is, I wanted to play Spider-Man Miles Morales mostly for this day, is what I wanted to do, but it's so hot up in the attic. It's cooled down a bit, but it's still hot. You probably can't see, I'm actually sweating on my forehead. I wanted to play that most of the day, but I didn't, because it was so hot up here, and I wanted to play it on my monitor. So I got to play it for about an hour before this live stream, which was fun. I did enjoy playing it, but most of the day I was just chilling out on YouTube, watching videos on YouTube. I set up this stream, everything you're watching on this live stream, the birthday stream text, the background, everything. I had to create this today, so I did that as well. And yeah, I was just relaxing today. I'll tell you what I really did, which was fun for today. I did not work on the Little Mermaid versus video. Although I broke my rule, I was not supposed to. I was supposed to have just a full-on relaxing day today, but I broke my rule. I ended up editing the voiceover for the intro and the conclusion. I edited and cut that whole thing up and put in the right take. So I did that as a little cheat, just to do a bit of work for the day. But that's what I did. And then yeah, today is really just relaxing, and I'm gonna get some food once I finish this live stream. We'll go 5 more minutes for the live stream, and then we'll see if I want to do more or not, because it is getting unbearably hot up here. Adam Grunther says Christina Hodson is a great writer. I absolutely disagree. Yeah, that's no problem. Birds of Prey for me, I only laughed at 2 scenes, and I can't even remember what they are. So joke-wise, I hear good jokes are in the next movie, the Flash movie, but I've heard as well they don't sound like her kinds of humor, which is interesting. I did like Bumblebee, but it did feel like another movie copying Iron Giant. I personally am not 100% impressed with her writing skills. So she's a decent writer is what I would say, but I did not like what she did with Birds of Prey. I thought the movie was okay the first time I saw it, but I saw it the second time, and I just couldn't sit through it at that point. I was like, the cinematography is good, but I just really just didn't like it. I felt like I've seen better versions of this movie before, like Deadpool. Speaking of which, I remember my sisters, they both watched Birds of Prey, and they hated it more than I did, which I was shocked by. They hated it so much they asked me to go get them Deadpool, because they wanted to watch that after Birds of Prey, because they felt like it was copying it too much, which is interesting. Logan Miracle says Birds of Prey is a somewhat bad movie in my opinion. Yeah, it didn't hold up in my opinion. I thought it was okay the first time I saw it, but it's just one of those movies that for me, it kind of gets worse the more you think about it, but yeah. Zilla Universe says, did you know that in Star Wars Celebration this year, during the Andor panel, when Kathleen Kennedy showed up on stage, she received the least amount of claps compared to everyone else on stage? That's what I heard, and I heard that as well. There wasn't much of an applause compared to what Dave Filoni gets, or Jon Favreau gets, or Hayden Christensen got. The applause was very low, and I heard, because it was taking place in the UK, I looked at Twitter, and some UK members of, UK audience members that were there at Star Wars Celebration, they were saying that when they're actually there is not really much of an applause for Kathleen Kennedy. They said we Brits are more polite, so we don't boo someone on stage, but we didn't clap for her very loud either. The claps were very, very low in volume, and most people didn't even clap. So that says a lot. And I think Kathleen Kennedy could feel that, because if you watch her on stage, at one point she makes a joke, and then she goes, no one knows that? No one knows that movie, or something like that? It's like no one just wanted to humour her at all. Adam Grunther says, as someone who knows her work well, The Flash very much felt like her writing. Yeah, I got to see the movie to know for sure. It's just some reviewers that I've seen have said that this didn't seem like her writing. Son of a Pirate donated £5 on Super Chat. Thank you very much for the Super Chat. It's like you guys are almost giving me back the money that I paid for the Spider-Man Miles Morales game today, which I did not get very much at a discount, unfortunately. The day on my birthday I want to get it, they do not release it on a discount. Pretty much full price, which was a shame to me. But I bought it anyway. I'm going to play it at some point, so I thought I'd play it now. Although I didn't get to play much of it today. That was unfortunate. But Son of a Pirate says, do you want to do an Iron Man vs. Revenge of the Sith video? Why Iron Man vs. Revenge of the Sith? Those are two completely non-related movies. I mean, Iron Man 3 versus Star Wars 3 Revenge of the Sith, maybe that would have made a bit more sense. I don't know. It's but I've always wanted to do like really weird comparisons, so I don't know. I'll consider doing some weird comparison like that in the future. Like where two movies where it's like they don't even compare, but let's see what happens. But thanks for that question, but and for the super chat. But we'll see. I've got still plenty of others to do. Plenty of other versus videos to do on my list that I've been talking about already. Fireboy says thoughts on the Ahsoka show. Haven't seen it yet. It's not out yet. It's coming out August. I need to catch up on Rebels, although I already know what happens in a lot of that show. Gothic Chick says you're the best. Review Rise of the TMNT movie next. I will when it comes out. I'll probably do a versus video with the 2007 TMNT as well. We'll see. Are you playing the game on a PlayStation or PC? PC, the Steam Deck, the portable Linux gaming PC from Valve. I'm using that, and I connected it via HDMI to my 1080p monitor. Although I played the first game on the PS4. What do you think of Edward Norton's Hulk film, says FNA Fanboy. I thought it was okay. It was okay to me. I liked his Hulk the best. I think the CGI for that Hulk, that design at least, that character model to me is the best one. Adam Grunther, another super chat. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Favorite scene in Guardians 3? For me, it's the flashback in which Rocket escapes. The actor for Rocket and High Evolution are incredible. They really are, aren't they? That bit where he lets out a cry, it kind of got to me a little. Like it, I can't remember if I teared up at that scene, but it got to me emotionally because that cry that he did, that loud cry that Rocket did, it was a cry of shock, and it sounded so real. Like the way it happened, it didn't sound like an act. Like, sometimes we think, oh, that acting where someone cried was so good, but then you hear a real cry, and you're like, wow, that's a real cry. Yeah, that was a great scene. But for me, it's the whole scene when Rocket is on the hospital bed. And I don't want to give spoilers because I know some people still haven't seen the movie. But the scene in the third of the movie where they're trying to resuscitate him, that part, with that big scene where it happens, and then Rocket sees people in a white environment, that whole sequence to me is my favourite scene of the whole movie. It was a beautiful scene, and the music in that scene was like 10 out of 10 beautiful. That was one of the moments that I did actually tear up on that in the cinema. I was in a happy and relieved way, but it was sad. And I remember Chris Pratt, his performance in that was so emotional. His best performance I've ever seen, it just in that one scene. It was phenomenal. It really was. Is Black Widow one of the worst MCU movies? Far from the worst, no. But it wasn't good. Adam Grunder says, I sent a $2 super chat earlier as well. I saw your $2 super chat earlier. I thought I answered it. Let's keep scrolling up and see. Because I did think I... Oh, you did send another... What is up with this software? When people donate $5, I always see it. I'm using OBS, by the way. I don't know why it's doing that. Did Drax improve for you in Guardians 3? That is a very good question. Did he improve for me? Kind of. I liked the bit when Mantis said it's not his fault that he's stupid, and then when he's like, you think I'm stupid? That moment, and how it kind of, he felt hurt by that. I did like that. That was very good. But the bit where he had with the kids, I liked the idea of that scene, but it felt a bit too goofy. The language he was speaking, it felt a bit goofy. I love the bit where he goes that, you know, my daughter liked this. Like, that kind of talk I liked. I wish they would have went into it more. It got a bit too goofy when he's making those space chicken sounds. Then it went a bit goofy to me. I would have liked it if they continued on that note where he talked to her like, you know, my daughter was like this. And, you know, if he continued on with that, that probably would have been another tearjerker for me. I'm not kidding. So, yeah. But yeah, I think that's Adam Grunder. I think that is your other one. Let me double check just to see if there's any others. Yeah, that's the one I must have missed. But yeah, I did. Do I like him better overall? I liked him better than in Guardians 2 because I thought he was laughing too much there. I did think he was definitely better in this movie. Hey Eric, what are your thoughts on Bill Cipher? I don't know what Bill Cipher is. I hope, Adam Grunther, that I got all your questions there. If not, let me know. All your super chat questions. Will you be doing a verse video on The Flash and No Way Home? That's one of the ones I want to do. I don't know if I will, though. I need to see it, because this month is packed. Because I'm also planning on doing a versus video of Indiana Jones 5. We'll have to see. Like I said, I always have to see the movie to know what versus video I'm going to do. But if the movie is as bad as they say, I'm thinking of doing Indiana Jones 4 versus 5. That's if it's as bad as they say, but I need to see it. This is the kind of way that I usually plan my versus videos, is that I have to at least spitball some ideas. So right now I've spitballed that idea. If it's a good movie, what will I compare it to? That's where I'll probably compare it to all 5, but it's hard to do 3, let alone 4, let alone 5. But we'll see. Son of a Pirate, £2, another donation. Thank you very, very much. Tony Stark and Anakin both go in metal suits. Oh yeah, that is a little comparison, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah, they both go in metal suits. Although I think I like Anakin's metal suit better here, personally. Seriously, guys, thank you very much for the super chats. Those are so incredibly helpful. They really are. Oh, it is, man. It's getting hot in here. Guys, I think I'm going to leave in about 5 minutes because it's getting hotter. I've got an empty stomach, and the more water I drink, I can feel that stomach just how hollow and empty it is. And I don't know if you can see, but I am starting to sweat here. I might be looking moist on camera. I've got my lights on either side here, so yeah. You might see, it might not. Dude, you haven't watched Gravity Falls? I watched the first episode or two, and then I didn't continue with it. Because I've watched a lot of shows that are similar to that, but in my generation, like Billy and Mandy and stuff, and I didn't want to sit through another whole one in a way. Adam Grunther sent another super chat. I'll get to that in a second. Let me just get to these couple questions here. Happy birthday. What's your favourite movie of the year so far? Ooh, that's a good question. right now, my favorite movies of the year is John Wick Chapter 4, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and Across the Spider-Verse. Across the Spider-Verse. What am I talking about? That's not even a... For me, that's like an instant, easy question. See what I mean when I say my mind just doesn't work at times? It's like Across the Spider-Verse completely left my mind. And I've got Miles Morales on the screen here too. I've got no excuse for that. Logan Miracle says Eric hates Thor 4, but I don't know his least favourite MCU movie. Yeah, what was my least favourite MCU movie? Oh. There's so many, like, boring types. What do you guys remember what's my lowest score I gave an MCU movie? Because it's kind of escaping me. In the meantime, I'll answer Adam Grunther's question. What's your favourite James Gunn villain? For me, it's a tie between Ego in Guardians 2 and Peacemaker's father. My favourite villain in a James Gunn movie. He needs to work on those, because I think they're good, but I don't think they're great. And now that he's going over to DC with Superman, he needs to get those villains great, especially in the case of Lex Luthor. But my favourite villain of James Gunn's... Oh, I think I answered this question before, but I'm not remembering the answer. Oh yeah, I remember the villain. Peacemaker from the Suicide Squad. I liked him a lot as a villain in the Suicide Squad, because in the Suicide Squad he was essentially the villain. I mean, he killed the only good guy in the movie, Rick Flag. So Peacemaker. But if you want another answer, like a villain that stays a villain, then yes, I would say Peacemaker's father. He was a right a-hole. He really was. I felt so sorry for Peacemaker. And at the beginning, you're not supposed to feel sorry for him. He's still that same, piece of lump that he was before. You're supposed to feel sorry for him as the show goes on. But I felt pretty much sorry for him right at the beginning. That conversation they have when he tells him about Bloodsport's name? Idris Elba's character, where he says about his fear of rats. That was a funny scene. And then how him and his father have like a nice father-son bonding moment. Then it just turns upside down when he goes... Well, I can't say those words that he says here on YouTube, but yeah, that was hilarious. That made me laugh the first time I saw it so loud. Captain Marvel got a 1 out of 10, but that was also because it did damage your favourite MCU movie. That is true. See what I mean when I say you guys just remember these scores better than I do? I forgot I gave Captain Marvel a 1. I didn't think it was a terrible movie. I think I said it was average, like 4 out of 10, like just below average. But then when you take into account what it did, and I wasn't wrong. If you look at what they've done now, like She-Hulk, they've actually gotten worse. So it was the start of something wrong. When Marvel didn't have to do it, they already had phenomenal female characters prior to that, without trying to be boys versus girls, or boys suck and girls are better. They were doing phenomenal before that, but then they decided to go down that political route. And as you can tell, it's not done good for the brand. But yeah, Captain Marvel, I would say. It was the start of an unhealthy relationship, I'd say, between Marvel Studios and the fans. And they were trying to say it's all because fans hated female characters, even though fans were loving female characters prior to that. So I don't know why Marvel tried to jump into that. Kevin Feige, I don't know what he was thinking. Happy birthday, Eric. What is your favourite British TV show? Thanks for the birthday wish. I give... My favourite show is Sherlock, my favourite British show. I have tons of British... I have tons of favourite shows as well. That are comedy shows on the BBC. Those are my favourites too. Adam Grunther, have I missed any more of your super chats? Because I think you put another message there, unless I'm reading one of your older messages. Did I miss another one of your super chats? Because I'm going through, I think I've got them all. So I'm looking at your question about rocket escapes. Yeah, it seems like I've caught up. Which Superman villain do you want to see in Superman Legacy? Lex Luthor. Although there's a lot of rumours going around that we might even get not Dave Bautista, what was it? Jason Momoa playing... Why is my memory so bad? Maybe it's the heat. What was that character he's supposed to be playing that looks like him? I can't believe I'm asking this. I always get it, normally. Oh, that's good, Adam Grunther. I got them all. What's that character people want him to play that looks like him? On the motorbike? Put it in the chat so I can see. I think I kind of got it in my mind, and I just kind of forgot. Lobo, yes, Lobo, thank you very much. You guys can call me an idiot if you want, you'll be totally justified. I don't know what is going on in my memory lately. I'm always so good at remembering these types of names and things, like, just instantly like that. But even when I'm writing my scripts lately, it's like words that normally come to me instantly, it's like I have to look them up. I don't know what's going on with my mind. I should probably get myself checked or something. Yeah, I've heard rumors that he might be in there, which is why Jason Momoa posted that thing on Instagram where he was so happy. Adam Grunther says, I really want Brainiac. I'm kind of sick of Lex Luthor and Zod. We always get those two. I can totally see that. Brainiac, I'd say, is probably my second choice. I want to see another Lex Luthor, because the Smallville's Lex Luthor is my favorite Lex Luthor. And I want to see a Lex Luthor that's really cunning and evil and strategic. I think it really comes down to what execution of Lex Luthor, because the Lex Luthors they have are just, they just don't come across that intimidating. Do one like Season 7 Lex Luthor from Smallville. That will be a Lex Luthor where you really want to, you'll be scared of. Because what Season 7 of Smallville did is they added a little bit of the Joker into Lex in Season 7 when he was starting to fall apart and just start killing people left and right. Even you are afraid for the characters he's been friends with all this time because you could potentially kill them too. Because he killed his father, which was shocking. They need to add that level of, just a touch of Joker, the chaotic level of Joker and the unpredictability level of Joker to Lex Luthor, and it will make him so much more intimidating. So I want to see the movies do that. This water is getting warm now. That's how hot it is in this room. Jacinda. Oh, Jacinda, another, like, long-time viewer of my channel. I love Sherlock, but the villains for the most part were kind of mediocre. In 1 to 2, they're a great one, but then followed it up with a mediocre one. 3 to 4, every villain except the one from Season 4, Episode 3 were mediocre. I can't remember. Yeah, Season 4 villain was mediocre, but wasn't truly a villain, I don't think they wanted to do. But in Season 1 and 2, Moriarty was fantastic. And Season 3, I liked Magnuson. Apparently he's going to be playing Grand Admiral Thrawn in the Ahsoka show, because he voiced him in the Rebels show, and now he's going to play him. Blue makeup and all. Adam Grunther says, that is true. I really don't want Eisenberg. Yeah, I don't want that either. I want an intimidating, scary Lex Luthor. So let me preference that, Adam Grunther, by saying that I want a scary Lex Luthor. I do not want generic Lex Luthor. I want Smallville Lex Luthor from Season 7. Evil Lex Luthor. The one that is really frightening and scary. I want that Lex Luthor. If not him, then yes, Brainiac. I've always wanted to see Brainiac done in a movie, but I don't know. I feel like to do Brainiac, you need to have a Superman established for one movie, then have Brainiac in another. But I could be wrong with that. Are you going to see the FNAF movie? What is... Can someone tell me what FNAF is? It'll probably be a no-brainer. But I can't think of it right now. What do you think about Spider-Man PS4? And do you think they'll do Venom justice? I love Spider-Man PS4. Fantastic. One of my favourite Spider-Man movies. And yes, I think they will do it justice, Venom, because apparently it's not going to be Eddie Brock. So we'll see what they do. Thanks very much, Logan Miracle, for another happy birthday. I appreciate that. FNAF, what is that? Someone's asking me. Five Nights at Freddy's is what it's supposed to be, isn't it? Oh, now your messages are just coming through. I got that at the last minute after I got you guys to type it in. I'll consider seeing it when we get closer to the time. Right now, my mind, like I said, this is a jam-packed month. It hurts my brain and exhausts me just thinking about other stuff. So we'll get to that eventually. I should. And if I don't, I'll probably do a podcast on Patreon or something. What if John Cena played Eddie Brock instead of Topher Grace? That is kind of brilliant, if not for the fact that he's already played like a big man jock as Peacemaker, so I'd say kind of not for that reason. But let's see what the PS4 game does. If they can do a good job with Venom in whatever different way they do and maybe set a new standard or trend, we'll see. They're doing their own thing with that Venom. Hey Eric, have you seen the Hunger Games 5 trailer? Also happy birthday. No, I haven't seen it, and thank you very much. I've heard of the trailer coming out, I've not seen it, but we'll see when it comes out what I think of it. I've heard good things from test screenings and stuff. Okay, are there any other super chats? Drop your super chats now, because I'm going to go in about 4 minutes. I've been in the stream for so much longer, and boy, am I starving right now. And the water is actually not helping now. It's just making my stomach feel even more hollow. So if you've got any other super chats, any other questions that you want to drop them right now. And within the next, 3 minutes now, I will be leaving. Adam Grunther says, Venom is apparently not going to be Eddie Brock in the Spider-Man game. Yeah, I heard that. They said it's not going to be, which surprised me. And normally that would get your inner fanboy kind of like mad. But it didn't. I was like, ooh, you're not going to do Eddie Brock. So who are you going to do then? And they made it a mystery as to who it's going to be on the inside. So that's one of the things I'm kind of irritated by, is I'm not going to be able to get a PS5 to play the game, but I hope I don't get that spoiled for me. I really hope I don't. Logan Miracle says, you love your viewers so much. Yes, I do. That's why, even though I'm sweating here, I don't know if you guys can see, my forehead is sweating, I'm starving, I'm really hungry, I feel like I've been here for longer on the stream than I'm supposed to be. I love you guys so much, that's why I keep, trying to stay on longer if I can. Cameron Shahid says, happy birthday, Eric. What do you think of the Insidious films? How would you rank them, and are you looking forward to the new one? I would say the first one, the second one... Well, I didn't like the first one until the second one came out, because I hate that twist ending, but the second one rectified that, and then I liked them both. 1 and 2, very much to me, are one movie, because I don't like the first one otherwise. But the first one was definitely... I was going to say that word, but I don't know if YouTube Livestream would like that. It was definitely much scarier. The first one. Second one, I liked that a lot as well, even though there was a good amount of people that didn't like it. I really liked it. Third one, what even was the third one? I think I'm remembering the third one, or was that the fourth one? The fourth one I thought was alright. I didn't really like it very much. Third one, if I remember it correctly, I thought it was okay. And the fifth one coming, I don't really care, but it is interesting that Patrick Wilson is actually directing it. That's his directorial debut. So yeah. Adam Grunther, I think, did you ask another question? Because I think I saw your name. That's why I say, people, super chat, especially in this last 1 minute now. I can spot your questions easier that way. Thoughts on TMNT Mutants Manhattan? I did trailer reactions on my Patreon. You can see there what my thoughts are, but I think it has potential, is the best way to sum it up. So, you can stop asking me that question now, Fireboy. I did see it. It's alright. Sonny of Frankenstein, what do you think of Swamp Thing? Swamp Thing, I don't know if you talk about the TV show or the character in general. The TV show was alright. I did have fun watching it, though. I watched it on my projector. I love the soundtrack for it, the main theme. Shame it got cancelled. The movie the character I don't know too much about, so we'll see what the movie is that James Mangold does, and I hope he does a great job. With no Kathleen Kennedy there, I'm sure he'll do a great job. Such a super talented director. Zilla Universe, thank you very much for your $2 super chat. Have you played the Kingdom Hearts games? No, I haven't. I've wanted to when I was a kid, and now I can with my Steam Deck. I can emulate all of them on PlayStation 4. I can even get them on... Sorry, all of them on PlayStation 2. I can even get them on PlayStation 4, because they bought all the games and they put a bunch of them in one disc or something. But I've grown old of it now, honestly. When I was younger, I probably would have loved it, but I'm kind of past it now. I had the PSP as well. I could have played it on that, but I never got around to it. So yeah, there's too many other games that I got to catch up on. Like I was playing Max Payne 3. I'm at a point now where I have to look up on YouTube how to beat it, but I was having such a great time with that. So there's so many other games that I've been trying to play on my spare time when I can. If you want to see more footage of that and like more, if you guys want to see more gameplay stuff like Hogwarts Legacy and everything, what you got to do is you got to go onto my Patreon when I launch my new game show. So you'll get tons more game content from me. I've used to do game content on here regularly with my 3-minute reviews show, but that I cancelled it because it didn't really work out or get the viewership that I wanted. But gaming is something that I really do have a passion for as well. It's a huge interest of mine. So, but I didn't do it on YouTube after the whole movie thing took off because I didn't want my audience to get confused and fractured. For those that are not interested in gaming, they'll be like, why does he keep releasing this game footage, clogging up our subscriptions feed? So I didn't do it. So that's why gaming will be specifically for Patreon. And it'll be on a perk it'll be on the $5 perk, and I'm not going to up the price. Right now it's $5 for early access to some Versus videos that I do. You know, depending, so long as they are not videos I have to get out quickly, then I'll do like an early thing with that. Basically, that perk, you're going to basically get a game show with that perk, and it will not cost you anything extra. That's the one perk I'll tease to you right now. Adam Grunther, another... no, it's not Adam Grunther. Sorry. It's like I've gotten so used to it. The amount of super chats you've done. Miles Adair. I like that name, Miles, especially as of late. Eric, what is your favourite streaming show? Mine is Cobra Kai, Stranger Things, All of Us Are Dead, Alice in the Borderland, and The Sound of Magic. Very good question. There's so many, so how can I just pick one? I'll say The Boys right now. I probably would have said Stranger Things, but I did not like the last season. So I'll say The Boys. The Boys is a fantastic streaming show. So, oh wow, we're 2 minutes over time. Okay, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 1 more minute, 22:03, when it gets to that. So if there's any more super chats, any more questions, drop them right now and I'll answer them. If not... Eric, do you notice that Across the Spider-Verse had a second long moment where a section of the background of Spider-Gwen said where a section of the background of Spider-Gwen's room said trans kids matter? Twitter is going crazy over it. Thing is, I have strong opinions towards that too. When people get older at a certain age, if they want to do things, that's where I'll be like, all right, it's on you, for better or worse. You know, this is where I feel like I'm getting old. Do you know the old saying of the parents say, don't come crying to me if this or that happens? That's how I feel about many things. Like, if you're older, by all means, do that. Don't come crying to me. That kind of mindset about many things. But when it comes to kids, that's where I'm like, kids, I remember what I was like as a kid. I wanted to look like Nightcrawler from X-Men 2 so badly. Like, so badly. Like, back in the day, if you told me we can do that with surgery and stuff, I would have said yes. But as an adult, I'm so glad I did not do that, and I'm glad it was just stayed in my head, and there was no people taking that kind of stuff seriously. But nowadays, you know, surgery is one of those things where it's like, people used to be tomboys, they used to be emo, you know, they used to go through so many, like, shifts when it came to style. But when it comes to stuff like this, you cannot just go say, okay, I'm done with the emo style. It's like, your surgery is permanent, and there's going to be a lot of side effects that they don't tell you on the cover. But I've talked to people, and they talked about all the maintenance that they got to do, and I'm surprised how they don't advertise that. They just say, yeah, trans kids and stuff. But it's like, that's going to be painful for them, all this maintenance that they're going to have to do to their body as their body goes through changes. And they're going to have to go through more surgeries, it'll cost them more money. It's just a huge expense. But yeah, that on kids is something that I do not think should personally happen. It's not good for their health, because their body is supposed to be developing once they get to a certain age. But that's as political as I'm going to get here. Let's go back to just 3 more questions. Chili Dog Boy, hi Eric, do you like Ben 10? I love Ben 10. The original show, Ben 10 and Ben 10 Alien Force. Love those. Jacob, you're saying not all villains need to be sympathetic, they can also be born psychopaths. Yeah, exactly. Which is why I liked Guardians of the Galaxy 3, that they just had an evil villain with a high evolutionary, because I'm tired of every villain having to be sympathetic. So I'm glad that they did that. I am very glad that they did that. So again, why I love Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Great movie. Eric, what are your thoughts on Breaking Bad if you watched it? I watched it a long time ago. I really liked it. The pacing just kept jumping up and down, though. That was my only issue with it. Do you think it ruined Spider-Verse? No, because they weren't bad guys. They're good guys. They're all Spider-Man, so that is different. How do you feel about the late Alan Rickman? That was sad, because I remember watching him in movies as a kid. He always scared us kids as Professor Snape. What do you think of Family Guy? I've watched a few episodes. It's funny. It's good. Do you think it ruined Spider-Verse? No, I've already answered that. Okay, guys, that is about it. Thank you very much for your super chats. Thank you very much for your support. I need to go get some food, and I hope the places are open that I'm going to go to, because I'm just exhausted, and I feel like I'm out of energy. And I feel like this water is not even helping me out either. If anything, it's just making me more hungry. So thank you for your super chats. I'll use it to get myself some food. And some of those super chats, I'll let it go towards the extra money I spent on Miles Morales. I think I'll put it that way. That'll make me feel a bit better about the purchase being more money than I really wanted it to be. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Are you still open for a Predators 2010 sequel? Yes, I am. But we'll see what Disney do with that. They have it now. Thanks again so much for all the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. And yes, King of the Monsters 2021, I will hopefully have a good meal. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for all the birthday wishes. Thank you all so much for the super chats. Thank you very much for continuing to watch the content on my channel and the Patreon. I got 51 patrons, which is surprising. Remember, when we get to 100, we're going to get to that How to Train Your Dragon Versus video, that 3-way How to Train Your Dragon Versus video. And it'll be a passion project versus video, and I'm not going to monetize it either. That because YouTube will keep doing copyright claims on it. So that's how much it's a versus video that I really have a passion for that versus video. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks, Adam Grunther. I will have a great birthday. I have had a great birthday, and it's been all the greater now that I've spent some of it with you for the first time. This is the first time I'm spending some of my birthday with you guys. I really wanted to do that this year. Thanks very much, guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch all of you very soon. Take care.